It's about listening. It's about, building that trust to go, I can see what you're wanting. I can do this for you. Just no surprises. If we keep honest, truthful, and keep explaining the process and knowing that this is going to come in that set size, it's not going to fit right off the bat, but with alterations, it'll be perfect. You expect that when you walk in and you're going to meet your gown.
Why doesn't my gown look like that? I know that when we were chatting last week before we sat down for this discussion, we wanted to ask the question of what was a question that the brides ask after they've left the salon, but before they come in to meet the dress.
Yeah.
So I'm really thrilled that you're joining me today. This is Mark. Mark is our alterations specialist and one of our fabulous styling people and knows so much about the bridal world, having worked with thousands and thousands of brides. So your journey today and talking to me today, you're going to help us and help the brides, because this is when it becomes your world, when they get handed over to you, they come in for their meet the dress moment. And when they come through our frosted door, sometimes they're excited, but you can also see that there's also a bit of fear. They don't know what to expect.
Yeah, exactly. And that's our job, is sort of, demystifying that process of why doesn't my dress look like how it was when I tried it on however many months ago? And is it still the dress I remembered? So that's our job in alterations, to sort of take away those fears and through the alterations process, turn the dress into what we remembered it to be or what we wanted it to be.
Yeah, because I think key is that it is the same dress, but as we go through our made-to-order process, which we'll chat more about in just a minute, the bride tries on her salon sample, of which we have, fall in love with it, and then if they decide to go ahead, we measure bust, waist and hips, select a size and order it, and then a brand new gown arrives. And I sometimes think or wonder, is it that period of time from deciding to now coming in and seeing the gown for the very first time, the thoughts that are going through their mind can be, I hope I still like it.
Oh, that's the number one thought, honestly. Whenever they walk in, they always say, I just hope I still love it. And you can tell there's a bit of nerves there. They're just a bit sort of anxious because they haven't seen it for a long time. So one thing they say to me is, I hope I still love it. The good thing about what we do here is that me and Emily are both alterations experts, but we also do the styling. So we can sort of be in the styling realm with the brides, and we can also help inform our other stylists that are here as well about how the gowns will be when they come in. So when the brides are choosing their gowns and we've got them clicked in and pegged in, we can then let them know when this gown comes in your size, things are going to change based on proportions, and we can let them know sort of close to how the gown's going to be once it comes in.
And that's your starting point. So it comes in, it's been made, the designer has been asked to create a gown in a size X, whatever the size may be. We know it's just a number. They get created in size X, the gown comes in, and now you're at the point where she's standing in the gown, and you've got to start your process of alteration. So how do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. So like what you said, it's great as a starting point. So as soon as the bride steps onto our podium and they're in the dress, the great thing that I hear all the time is the bride says, oh, it doesn't fit, but I expected that. And that's
great.
Amazing
well, we do
to
tell
hear
everybody
all the time.
from the get-go, don't we?
Yeah. So with what we do here, start with that point, and then we just say to the bride, we're going to go from top to bottom. We'll recommend exactly the alterations to get the perfect fit. And then once they're happy with that and they go ahead with us, that's when we start pinning. And the pinning, that's really where you start to see sort of that magic happen, where they start seeing the sides come in, they start seeing the hem being done, and that's when you start to see that excitement sort of really build, if you know what I mean. You see, like when they first get into the dress, they're like, okay, it's not fitted, but it's a dress and I still love it. Whereas when you start to pin it, they start to see the vision happen. And that's when you start to get excited for them, and they start to get excited and they start to go, I can see it now. Where they're like, this is it now.
You and Emily, our amazing alterations team, who work so closely with every bride, and that's what I get to observe, is you don't just fit a gown to a bride, You learn about her personality. You learn about, is she going to be doing a certain sort of dance in the gown? And, you know, what does she need on her day to feel her most beautiful best?
Yeah, and that's it, because every bride's unique. All of her wants and needs are unique, as well as the gown that she's chosen. So like you said, that's what me and Emily do, is we listen to the bride, we have the conversation, and we talk with what she wants to do with the dress. And that's where we go into that one-on-one quoting that we do to make sure that she's getting everything that she wants with the dress. You know, no dresses stock standard, and no alterations quote stock standard. It's really great.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a journey that you go on with them until usually about 1 to 2 weeks is usually our timeline for the bride to take her gown home. Yeah. And then she's leaving the salon with a gown that's fitting her wedding day figure.
Yes, yeah, because usually we find that your shape's not going to change in about 2 weeks, unless you're doing something crazy. I want to know what you're doing to change in 2 weeks, but usually, you're sort of stable within that, 2 weeks. Before.
Yeah, share your secrets. Let's dig deeper and discuss the made-to-order process, because that is an area of mystery for so many people who are starting their bridal gown journey. Yeah. Take us through what a made-to-order gown actually is.
Well, a made-to-order gown is basically, say you found the one, you've said yes. Mm-hmm. What we do is we take your measurements, mainly bust, waist and hip measurements, and your waist to the floor as well. And then we have a look at your size. And this is dependent on which designer's gown you've chosen, because each designer has a different size chart and a size range with measurements that correspond to whichever size.
Yeah, we've got a thick book of the size charts from our designers.
Yeah, that's it, because everyone's different. There's no standardized sizing. So we go through that, and we just basically match the closest measurement to that size chart. And that usually takes into account your shape as well. Yep. So usually, as is the case with a lot of women, usually their hips are a little bit bigger than everything else in their body. They'll usually be a bigger size on their hips than they are on their top. So that means that that's where we'll find their size. Yep. It's usually in their hips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or say if it's an A-line gown, then we'll go to your waist and your bust.
Yeah, absolutely. So a made-to-order gown, therefore, is measurements, set number of measurements to take, not many, really. It's 4. Then we match that to the size chart, and with the bride we say, okay, what do we feel is going to be the closest fit, knowing that it's not perfect, and we can order that accordingly. Yeah. I think it's really important to share that, because there's also the other extremes of there's ready to wear, which is we walk into any fashion shop and hanging on a rack are pre-made 3 or 4 different designs in different sizes. And part of our normal fashion process, our normal clothing process, is we try it on, the one that's the best fit, that's my size, and then off we run. But bridal is so different, because this is precision fitting. And because, as you mentioned, they're using different size charts. There isn't one size fits all. That doesn't exist in bridal. So the made to order, it's so close in descriptor to made to measure that it could be confusing. So demystify the made to measure process. And I know that there are various types of made to measure, but just if you could take us through the steps of what is a made to measure gown, and to know the difference between that and what a made to order gown is.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know we've had a bit of confusion as well with some of the brides here who thought we've had this gown here, we'll just run out the back and we'll grab a size for you, ready to go kind of thing. But basically, what we do here with made to order is the gowns are made to order. It's made specifically for you. Yes. We'll send your measurements off. We'll send your size off to the designer. They'll make that size and send it back to us. Yeah. Whereas something like made to measure, that's going more custom route. That's going more into you're speaking with a designer one-on-one. And a lot of designers don't do that anymore, actually. But you're speaking to them one-on-one. They'll take your measurements, a lot more measurements, and then they'll craft maybe a mock-up first to make sure the measurements are right.
In a calico fabric generally, isn't it?
Yeah. And then they'll make the actual garment once they've got the fitting right in the calico. It's usually a lot more expensive process, and it's usually a lot more of an involved process with a lot more fittings, because it's quite it's quite an involved thing. Yeah.
Experience where from ground up, a garment is being crafted for you throughout a period of time.
Yeah.
And the craftsmanship of that and the time and the effort and the sewing of that is considerably different than a gown that has a pattern and a fabric and it's made to the set size.
Yeah.
They sort of work closely because once the made to order gown arrives here and our brides meet you and meet Emily to start the finessing process, it becomes a custom gown at that point.
Yeah.
So it's funny, it's almost like the made to measure and the made to order with the alterations. They seem to
they
meet.
kind of intersect in a way.
Yeah, they seem to come together, which is I think really quite interesting.
Yeah.
But it's important for our brides because they've never tried on a gown before.
Yes.
And what do these terms mean?
Yeah.
And I know we go through the steps to help them and say this is exactly how it goes. And they appreciate that truth. They appreciate the authenticity of this is it. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me what's needed. Will alterations be needed? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
And that happy bride is what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. And I find what works best with, say, us is no surprises. I was nearly going to say this earlier, is that just no surprises. If we keep keep honest, truthful, and keep telling about the process in that way. If we keep, like what we just did, explaining the process and knowing that this is going to come in that set size, it's not going to fit right off the bat, but with alterations, it'll be perfect. Yeah. You expect that when you walk in and you're going to meet your gown. And that just sort of keeps everyone on the same page, and there's no surprises, especially with your wedding gown. You don't want to be surprised with something out of the ordinary. You want everything to go as smooth as possible to the book. You want it to just be exactly predictable. So what we do here, by informing the bride of every step of the process and keeping them informed of everything, it's removing that idea of the unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. And it meets their expectations of having a fantastic experience. So, of course, made to order, we place the orders with all of the amazing designers that we work with, and then the gowns arrive. So we don't just unpack them and present them to the bride. Walk us through our very stringent and almost forensic
we get
forensic quality control process.
Get the plastic out, we get the gloves out.
The gloves, yes.
Our beautiful
it's surgery.
fine gloves that we use, it's lovely.
Yes, but Marcel. So take us through the steps that before the bride meets her dress and it's arrived in the salon, what are the steps before it's ready for the bride to come and meet, as we say here?
Well, it's how you definitely know you're getting the dress that you ordered because we go through and we match up paperwork and the order to the dress that's been delivered. We match up size, shape, colour, the fabric, everything like that. And there have been times where we've looked at a dress and we've had the stylist who sold the gown go, does that look right? And we've just double checked it all to make sure it's all okay.
Yeah.
And then we look for any flaws in the fabric. We look for if the zipper zips up and down, if we look for anything that could possibly be.
Yeah, and I've seen you guys turn the gowns inside out and go layer, layer, layer. Yeah. It's fantastic. You're assured with Emily and Mark that before your meet the dress moment that your gown will be absolutely perfect. They're incredible. Their attention to detail it has me in awe, honestly, the way you guys can see a flower or see just the smallest detail that we consider, no, the bride's not going to be happy with that, to make sure that before they see their gown, it's perfect. A bride puts on the dress and she's like, this isn't how I remembered it. Yeah. Is that normal? Is that usual?
I find it usual. I find it usual for them to go, this isn't exactly how I remembered it because, and it's fun. It was paid. It's funny how brides are very self-aware now. People aren't, I'm finding people aren't oblivious to what's going on because they're saying, look, here's a photo of me in the dress when I tried on the sample, but it, however, was heavily pegged in the back. Yeah. And they're like, it's fine that I've got the size that I have now because it fits better, but I do love how the sample looks. So if you can make it look like that, then that would be great. Yeah. And a majority of the time, it's just because the dress hasn't been fitted yet.
Yes.
So you just have to get the sides in, get the hem done, and then they'll go, oh, great, this is how I want it to look. Yeah. So it is just getting the fitting right.
Yes.
There's a few cases where there's a look they're going for, and you just have to work with the bride and try to decipher what she means, because I think a lot of people aren't very sewing literate.
Yes. No, that absolutely.
Yeah. So they don't know what
it's interesting. We can know what we don't like.
Yeah.
It's not quite right, but you don't, because you don't live in the world of fabric and sewing, you can't necessarily articulate. Pictures are really important, and I find that when our brides bring in the pictures, it makes it so much easier. Because yep, okay, got that.
When you've got someone who actually looks closer to your shape, it's a lot nicer to be able to see how things are draping and how things are falling on a figure and be able to compare to it.
Yep, no, absolutely. And I've noticed over the years, having been around for a while, that brides used to reference model shots, but as you say, now they're referencing effectively their peers.
Yes, yeah.
They want to see other brides, real brides. And as the world changes with AI and all of that, as we're all trying to navigate and learn that as well, it's the trust factor. If they see a real person in the gown, they feel that that's a real beauty, that's a real love story being told, and they can relate to that, and they want to, and they want to take those parts because they see it in real action.
Yes,
they certainly do.
Yeah, I think it brings reality to it. I think right now we're all looking for that reality part of it, where this is a real person that's had a real dress fitted. Yes. It's not been airbrushed, and there aren't wrinkles taken out. This is a real person that's been fitted.
Yeah, and when you're looking at things, do you think those things? Do you have those thoughts? Is this real? Is this airbrushed?
I do sometimes with the photos the brides are showing me, not to say I don't trust, but when you look at the photos, you just have to
if they're very
have
manufactured.
that eye. Yeah, yes. Whether the say the contrast has been pulled up a little bit too much to sort of get rid of the shadows. You just have to be careful of what you're looking at. Yeah. If a bride's showing you a photo and goes, I want this to be completely seamless and wrinkle-free, but we know we've seen the gown on people, we've fitted the gown on people, and we know how the gown looks and goes, and we go, this isn't possible. Yeah. Then we know in our experience that this is a photo that's been just brightened up and they've maybe airbrushed it out. We have to trust our common sense.
It's important for us to understand that this is a process, that they have their meet the dress moment in their made to order gown that's not finesse to their figure, and then you and Emily at Bluebell step in and create your magic. And you do create your magic because we have brides that have purchased gowns from other salons who have also come to have their gowns fitted with you. And we welcome those ladies as well to help them feel amazing on their wedding day.
We do, and that's what it is. It's a journey and it's a process. It does start at the alterations. Choosing the gowns
and the trust factor. Yeah, so trusting the alterations. Yeah. So that the gown truly becomes yours.
Yeah, exactly. So we build that trust to go through that journey. Sometimes it takes a few appointments. Sometimes it takes a few more appointments, but at the end of the day, the dress is fitting beautifully and where everyone's happy with it and the bride's leaving happy. But it's about listening. It's about, building that trust to go, I can see what you're wanting. I can do this for you. Yeah. And we just need to make it happen. Yeah. Through my expertise and your vision, we can make this happen. Or we can say, look, I know what you're going for. However, with the limitations of the fabric or with what we can do, this is what we can do to make that happen. Yeah, sometimes there's got to be some hard truths.
But they're very lucky to have you. Yes. They're very lucky to have you on that journey, which is fantastic. In conclusion of our discussion today about the gown doesn't look like I remembered, is to perhaps note that the fitting room is still part of the gown journey. So tips, Mark, what would be the main tips for brides to take away from our chat today? Yeah. From understanding the made-to-order process and the start of the alterations?
Yeah. So the gown comes in that standard sizing. Expect it not to fit and expect alterations to then make it perfect. So that would be my first one. Yeah. To come in with that expectation that it won't be 100% perfect, but it will be the gown that you've ordered.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my next tip, second tip is this comes from the great wise Emily, who's our other alterations expert here and our alterations manager, is that fabric isn't concrete.
Yeah.
We can move things around. We can take in seams, let out seams. We can change things around. It's not like what's been done is effectively done. Yeah. We can always adjust things and move things. No matter how many appointments it takes, we can make things happen.
Yep.
So that's one. And then number 3 is it's a collaborative effort. So same thing as we've been talking about. It's a collaborative effort between, say, us alteration experts and the stylist, and also us and the bride. So everyone here, specifically us at Bluebell, we're all a collaborative team.
Yes.
So we're here to make the gown and the bride look the best that she can on the day. Yeah. And with that in mind, all of us here are here with that goal. So we're by way of, say, talking to the bride, listening to what she wants, listening to her needs and, what she wants, that's how we get to that end point of the gown looking gorgeous, the bride looking gorgeous, and her getting married on the day with the dress that she wants and the dress of her dreams. And with that, it's trusting the process, trusting the alteration space. So kind of linked in together, trusting us as the alteration expert to know that whatever you're looking for or wanting in the gown, we can do that for you.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of communicating with us, knowing that.
I was hoping you were going to say that, because it's all about having that free-flowing communication. And then so the last one is feeling unsure starting to feel unsure is normal.
Yeah, exactly. So feeling unsure is normal. That kind of works in with that first tip of expecting your gown not to fit. The idea of feeling unsure about your gown is also normal because, like we said, you've been away from it for how many months it's taken for the gown to be made. Yeah. So if you feel just that bit unsure, that's perfectly fine. Just know that when you put it on, you'll end up feeling that feeling again. And then once it's been fitted to you, that's when you'll really feel like it's yours because it has been crafted to you at that point. Yep. So just know that it's normal to feel that little bit unsure on the day of trying on your gown for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then and then my last tip here, the sample to the final gown's a journey. So trying on your gown is just that starting point. Like trying on and finding your gown's just that starting point. Mm-hmm. Then that begins your whole journey from finding a gown to your alterations. So it's a whole journey. It's not just, I found my gown, that's it. It's the journey to make the gown perfect for you. Yes. That's all one big continuous journey. It's all part of the package. Really,
it's
all part of the package.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that is fantastic, Mark. Thank you so much for sharing that and demystifying those areas and providing some amazing advice and insight from your position of expertise as an alterations specialist and one of our stylists here.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. If you did enjoy today's episode, please do click like and the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.